Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today is May 8th. May the May 8th be with you, or something like that. 2025. Week one of the network cabling class, Fancha College. All right. So, 4 days late. All right. So let's see. I get some questions here. Did you already do lab one? Well, lab one we're doing this week, and this I always design lab one so you can do that at home. And this is practicing the deliverables, doing the deliverables. What's deliverables? Deliverables is a set of documentation that is prepared after a job is complete. It could be a new installation or it could be a service call. And these days, you need to prepare something that's called deliverables in order to, get paid for the job that you have done. All right. Now, if I may, uh, I'm going to divert right to our splash screen for our class portal. I already changed the picture. I think it's pretty cool. I did it last night. YouTube playlist. So let's see here. That's in the announcements. All right. There are already 3 videos. Today's video is going to be right underneath that. Uh, all right, so there's a little video that's 18 minutes. I would encourage you to watch that. Deliverables, how to prepare. The other one, work order preparation. We go by detail on what we go in detail in as far as what we should do in order to complete the work order that you'll be given. And over here, there's a online kind of a service that would convert everything into everything. And we are interested in converting files into PDF because I need in the lab, as far as our lab documentation, I need that to be submitted in PDF form. I'm going to usually have you submit 2 pages. One is going to be the work order, and the page 2 is going to be 2 tables with couple images I'm going to ask you to take and present present them in a certain way. We are practicing following the instructions, which is extremely important in the job field. Can't stress that enough. So some of the procedures, as I was saying in already some of the labs, some of the procedures are going to be, well, the procedures of how to fill out the deliverables will vary from workplace to workplace. But the main thing is that you pay attention to the detail as far as what is being requested of you. So watch these 2 videos. Based on that, you should be able to basically, without me saying anything, you should be able to complete lab one and submit that. Now, as far as 2 images, I'm going to ask you to do any images, any 2 images. It could be a coffee mug and uh, describe it in the description row. You say just coffee mug or something, and the other one could be a stapler. And just we are practicing doing that. And once we get comfortable with that, this is going to be integral part of every lab from now on. Right? Now watch these. Excuse me. Watch these, and you should be able to do that. It's all set up for you. The submission box is already set up. So yesterday I had 2 labs with sections. I forgot what sections were they. Do I have that? we had a couple of sections already doing the labs, and yesterday I had the lab with section 3 and section 2. So you guys are section 3 and 4. So haven't done that yet. But basically, what I'm presenting in those labs this week is what's in these two videos. So watch those. Okay. Here's 18 minutes out of your life. Here's 27 minutes out of your life. But it's worth it. Oh, so I think. All right. So anything for this class? Not yet. Okay. So somebody answered that. Okay. I think we took care of the chat line for now. You can buy them, by the way, you can pipe in on voice if you wish. That's fine as well. Okay. Let's continue from where we have left. On Monday, this was the last the slide before that was the last one that we have seen. So let me just start the presentation and come on. F5. There we go. All right, so cabling structure, what is involved in this job? Well, taking lots of pictures. I don't have to provide a reference for these two pictures because I took those pictures. Well, story behind that is here is something that's called BICS block, BICS termination block. This has to do with telephone lines. Years ago, when I was working for one of the companies, I was sent somewhere Toronto downtown, and the request was to identify the telephone line one and the fax line or something like that. I had those numbers to one of the fast food places that well, I was under the impression, and everyone was under the impression that that place is working and operational. But once I arrived, I found that it's a full-blown construction site. They were doing a renovation, and they wanted us to identify a couple of telephone lines. Well, I found the Bix block, and that's where it was, and said, "Yeah, it's somewhere there." Okay. There was also a Bell telephone technician identifying the same lines. So we just basically had a little conversation about this, and wrote the not the lab report but the work order, saying, "Hey, the lines are there. Let us know when you're ready for us to actually do a proper installation." So sometimes you're going to encounter things like this. This is equipment rack that sometimes you're going to have to clean things up before you can do any work, or sometimes you can just stop in your trucks and say, "Hey, if I touch that, something else might break. So do you want me to go ahead?" But the job might take longer than planned. So not always you're going to encounter nice and beautiful working equipment. Sometimes you're going to come up and see something like this. This is just well, this is sort of almost extreme as far as that. So this was the same place. That was the equipment rack for that place. And I just basically said, "Hey guys, you're just doing a construction here. Let us know when you're ready for us to actually step in, because it just wouldn't make sense for us to do anything right now because things are just not at that stage." All right. Now, sometimes you're going to have to well, data is a huge part of this job. What do we see here? Over here, we see something that's called a LAN room, and these are the rear views of the patch panels. So what happens is that every data jack is terminated at each location, and the other wire of that data jack is terminated at something that's called a patch panel. All right, and the patch panels provide the other end of that Ethernet, excuse me, link. So on one side, at the location, at the desktop, and underneath the countertop or something like that, you have a female RJ45 or data Ethernet jack, which is terminated, and the line runs right to the patch panel, and it's also terminated at a female Ethernet jack. So it's just a dry link. From there, on the other side, at the location, you can use a patch cable to connect that jack into a PC, for example. And over here on the other side, you're going to be connecting also with the patch panel to something that's called a switch. And do we see any switches here? Possibly some of those would be switches, but it's hard to say from looking at it from the back. Okay, those three look like switches. And then the equipment is connected wherever it needs to be connected further down to do a proper routing for the signal. So running wires, installing things like that is a huge part of this what we'll be studying during the next 14 weeks. Right now, I'll just said click to watch here. So once you download this, you could just get a little bit better understanding on as far as what is involved. We're not going to watch that here. I'll just let you watch that once you download the presentation. It's already available for you on our class portal. All right, what's involved in the nutshell? These would be some directions you might want to go as far as performing job in this sort of network infrastructure field. Each of those you can almost make a career out of and make a not bad of a living. Now, as I was talking to someone, huge companies have tendencies, something like, ADT, Bell, Rogers, or whatnot, they would have tendencies to specialize you in certain type of job that you're going to perform. So they need a team for the fiber optics outside lines, and so they're going to train some technicians, and and if you get trained on doing that, you might be actually doing this thing for for quite a bit, for longer time. Or they need someone to do whatever else, maybe some fiber optic connections to some neighborhoods or whatever else, and they will train a bunch of technicians, and those will be doing for some years doing the same thing. Which is one way of doing this. So that's mostly for the if you get hired by the big companies. If you work for medium to small, or if you work for yourself, then you will have exposure to pretty much everything at once. So you'll be doing, this week you'll be doing something to do with the security alarms. Maybe next month you're going to have a big nurse call system at the hospital to be installed, and something like that. So that's basically the difference between the bigger companies and the smaller companies as far as the job organization goes. Not set in stone, but for the most part, that will be the tendencies. All right, so data infrastructure, it's one huge field. That's running wires, terminating them, testing them, verifying the data links. Huge part of this job. Right? Telephony. We will study telephony, and we will study POTS and VoIP, right? Because POTS, as far as POTS stands for plain old telephone service. Excuse me. Still, it's being implemented, but slowly, or maybe not as slowly, is being pried out by the VoIP telephony. However, in some cases, you it would be beneficial for you to have VoIP phone system installed, and in some cases, still you have to have the POTS lines. Somebody's got their microphone turned on. Just kind of letting you know. Uh, I can hear some background noise. All right, so telephony, CCTV, closed circuit television. It used to be kind of two parts to this topic. One is the security cameras. That's closed circuit television system. And the other one would be the, well, closed circuit television systems in mostly like schools or whatnot. If there was a high school and that high school would have a broadcasting program, then the broadcasting class would take about a whole week to present sort of like a newscast over the school. You know how it is. If you went to high school with the broadcasting class, that was, you know, part of the high school. So maybe a Friday at a certain hour, everybody would stop and they would watch the broadcasting class broadcasting their, you know, programming, or maybe half an hour or something like that. So that was also, now this still is somewhat being implemented. A lot of coaxial cable is involved with that. But now with the Ethernet being so vastly implemented, then some of that broadcasting, or the ways of broadcasting, is solved in a little bit different way through the Ethernet. So you can see things on your cell phones or tablets or the PCs at the desktop. But so these days, CCTV mostly means closed circuit television that has to do with the security surveillance, right? Then security alarms, that's a huge part of that. Also, huge branch that you can make a career out of just doing security alarms. You can work for somebody else, you can subcontract, or you can do things on your own. And I will go in somewhat detail in further classes on how you can do that. And if anybody wants to go for the business for yourself, talk to me. I will point you into the right direction. I will not do things for you, but I will tell you what you can do so you don't have to figure things out, at least. Right? Now, nurse call systems. Nurse call systems are it's a system that usually it's implemented in the hospital, and these are those buttons by the patient's bed. So if a patient needs an assistant, they will press the button, and it will notify the nurses at the nurses station that the patient so and so in the room so and so needs assistance. Now that's those systems are quite complex. With all the corridor lights and interfaced with the, well, corridor lights to have different color code for different messages, type of well, desktop consoles that are at the nurse call stations, different type of call stations. There will be bed stations, there will be bathroom stations, living room stations, and whatnot. So what I'm talking about living room stations, because nurse call systems also are implemented in nursing homes or the nursing homes, or retirement homes. Okay, so that also is a huge part of that. Everything is a huge part. Fire alarms, or fire, basically. Now we do have in our college does have a program for the fire, because additional licensing is involved. Okay? But we will touch up on that just to give you the idea of what this is about, and if it's something that's of interest to you, talk to me. I will also point you in the right direction. PA systems, public address, commercial, simple, all call. Well, PA system, that has to do with the sound systems. Now, the sound system could be just the public address that is installed in a school or a hospital or something like that, or it could be a sound system for the hockey arena. It could be sound system for the church. It could be sound system for the theater. Or it could be sound system for a home theater. All those are vast branches of the industry. Okay. PA sound systems, that kind of falls under what I was just talking about. Access control. Access control quite often goes together with security alarms. Access control is, well, some of the doors are closed and you need to swipe the card to get in. And that's, in a nutshell, that's what it is. Now, retail systems, that's also a big part of, excuse me. uh, So the retail consists of, well, POSs, which is point of sale stations, installing pretty much everything. That including data infrastructure, telephony, CCTV, all of that. It would be in the whole retail, including access control and security alarms. No school. And maybe some of the PA systems. So sometimes in the retail, if you have a whole store to set up for telecommunications, then you might have to install data, telephones, CCTV. Well, would be the security cameras. You might have to install alarm. And well, fire, not, it will not be under that because it's a separate kind of a thing. And maybe some sound system and intercom. I didn't put that. So retail, it's a specific kind of an animal altogether. What do you need for to be able to do this kind of stuff? Well, you need working knowledge, and that you get from studying things as far as theory, and also by gaining experience by working in the field, either by yourself or with other people who know more than you, and you can just that's how we learn. We work with other people, and so we learn how to do things, and then we become the knowledgeable people. Uh, it works installation, setup, commissioning, and service. Setup, well, installation, we know what it is. We just have to install things, and every system needs different things to be installed. Setup, same thing as installation. Commissioning and service. What's service? Service is that things do break periodically. So sometimes you're going to be sent somewhere because something stopped working. So you're going to have to fix it. So that falls under the service call part. Now, commissioning, what's commissioning? Commissioning is after the whole system is installed. Let's say you have installed a complex VoIP telephone system for a huge facility, then you're going to have to instruct the people on how to use it. Yes, pick up the phone and dial. But if it's a bigger system, then there are things like how to use a voicemail, how to record this particular system, how to set up a conference call, how to do this, that, and the other thing. And sometimes it's like a half a day of training, and involves coffee and donuts. Right? What's involved also design and sales. Sales goes with the commissioning, kind of a thing. All right, next page here. Yeah, data. That's basically running cables, certifying them, terminating, and well, certifying, testing, and certifying. Sometimes you just test to qualify. You got different type of testers. One type of tester would just qualify a link as Cat 5e or Cat 6, for example, but it will not certify it. The certification process goes a little bit more complex, and we'll talk about that. Well, first of all, it involves more expensive tester and save those tests in the memory, and then you have to send those tests to a certain type of company that would analyze it with a fine-tooth comb, and then they will they might ask us a bunch of questions and certify those the whole installation as guaranteed Cat 6 standard or Cat 7 standard. Telephony. What's involved with telephony? Well, over here we have POTS telephone set, also known as SL set, or which means single line set. Um, we will study what POTS is. But also here is what I call a conventional telephone system. You pretty much have seen those telephone sets all over the place because the Nortel telephones were quite popular. Well, since like mid '90s till now. Although Norton Telecom is out of business, so what I heard, for quite a bit now. Still, you can find either refurbished or maybe sometimes somebody for some reason produces some replicas of those offshore because those systems were just so darn good. Um, 2009 market crash. Go Nortel. Yeah, there you go. Got Nortel. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Robert. So yeah. So this we will study those, and then there's something that is the hottest thing on the market for a nice few years right now is the VoIP telephone systems, which stands Voice over IP, which stands Voice over Internet Protocol, which is the using internet with telephony. Um, Way much more possibilities with the VoIP, and there's a lot of money saving going on while bigger companies switch to VoIP. Right? And there's some also put like a little double-headed arrow here, which is hybrid, because sometimes you can still have um, well working system installed, nothing wrong with it, but you don't want to pay the POTS fees of telephone line charges. You want to switch to VoIP. Yes, I will give you some idea of how that can be accomplished by using the existing infrastructure, the existing equipment, and still using some VoIP features in order to save money by the big companies. CCTV surveillance. CCTV. Well, mostly we're talking about security cameras, and it could be on a large scale or on a small scale, depending on what job you do and for whom. On a large scale would be if you get employed by the city, and then you could take care of those surveillance cameras and installations and service. But a lot of small businesses need those installed, and residential. So that's if you wanna run a small business doing that kind of stuff, the possibilities are there big time. Personally, and I'm kind of hesitating to say that well, this thing being recorded, but what the heck am I going to say that anyways? In my past experience, I would try to stay away from residential installations unless it met some certain conditions. I would most of the time, for the most part, I would try to get commercial installations, like a commercial building or a small business or something like that, because the installation is way more, well, it's easier to install, it goes quicker, and that just lets you do more work over the time and be more efficient as far as running your business. If you run business for your on like on your own, residential, unless it's I would always try to stay away from residential because the structures are a little bit different. Sometimes I would do for a friend of the family or somebody calls, and so yes, I would just go and check if and but the installation at the residential, because of the structure of the house versus the structure construction structure of a commercial building, like a business for a business, it's different. Houses are finished, drywalled out, so it's way it's more difficult to run wires and all that stuff. But on occasion, I would do, unless it was a newly built house. So you're working with a builder or somebody is building a new house, so you don't have to um, struggle with how you're going to get a wire from one place to another because everything is open, the drywall is not installed, the framework is exposed. Yeah, by all means, if you can land a contract with some home builder or something like that, then that's also great. Security alarms, almost like a separate animal on its own. Here's a picture of well, the modern looking keypad. Some of the keypads do have just numbers in the display, and some of the keypads will actually have you can implement the whole layout of the house and kind of mark some of the sensors and things like that for your convenience, or maybe if you want to impress some of your friends and family at some family gatherings. uh, um, Security alarms can be quite good business to go into. But as far as the details on how to set up a business like that, who to approach, how to install things, where to get the equipment, how to get the monitoring, and all the paperwork that's involved with that, it's not impossible. It's actually quite simple. It's just a little bit, involved process, if I would say. However, the benefits of that are great. So you can actually make a career just doing that. If that's something that's of your interest, please talk to me in person, and I'll give you more information about that. Nurse call system. This looks like selling kind of a salesman's panel. This one is by Roland, but there are other ones. There are Duquesne, Maxivox, and other ones. Well, I don't remember at this very second. So here's a corridor light. Here is something like a announcing station or check-in station. So the nurse would use that. Just say, "Okay, I'm in this room." Press that button, and certain light would light up in the hallway, light above the door to the room. Here's a pull station, more corridor lights, some other interfacing devices, another pull station for different rooms, and this would be just showing where possibly those could be. So this would be a sales panel for just to demonstrate maybe. Well, this would be a hospital room, semi-private room, hospital room, but also these are okay. Nurse call systems are installed in um, hospitals, or they're installed in um, nursing homes. Okay? Although more and more often, I'm beginning to see those pull stations or push buttons in commercial bathrooms, like in the gas stations or something like that. When you have the public washrooms, and there will be a button that says, "If you need help, push this button," something like that. For some reason, things are being expanded like that. But this is basically what a nurse call system looks like, and here is the console, the desktop console that will be at the nurse's station. Those can be also interfaced with well, with the telephones or pagers. Used to be pagers, but now people or nurses can get notified on their phones when the button is, oh yeah, here are a couple of phones here. So when nurse comes to work, she gets or he gets a phone issued for the shift, and that's the phone that they're using to communicate with each other, right? And sometimes when the button is pressed in a certain room, it will appear on the display on the phone. Fire alarms. Fire alarms are, well, again, an animal on its own. Additional licensing is required. It used to be years ago that the fire alarm technician would install the fire alarms, and service, because with fire alarms, annual service is required, annual inspection and all that stuff. Now things have changed a little bit, where we are. Fire alarm technicians do not install. They can design the system, or they can recommend what needs to be done, but you need an electrical license and not firearm, fire license, in order to install, because the type of installation is basically same as electrical installation. It involves pipe bending, pipe installations or conduits, certain type of wires, certain way of mounting certain devices, and all that stuff. So electricians, with electrical license, they would install that. Now, what's involved with the fire alarm technician? Well, annual inspections. Um, every big every commercial institution needs to have a fire alarm installed, and that needs to be annually inspected. So that's what you do. Noticing the problems, doing recommendations, correcting certain things. Maybe some device is hanging by the thread or not installed properly. Then you would either, as a fire technician, you would be able to do that, or would have to call in other people to like with electrical license to do the correction. Also, what's involved in that is fire extinguisher service. That's also big, because fire extinguishers need to be inspected periodically, and some of them have to be emptied and inspected for pressure, do a pressure test, and refilled again. And so that's an ongoing business. If that's something, well, post-fire inspections as well, when something got burned, like a building or something like that, then you could be part of the team that is sent there to analyze what happened and maybe find some code violations and things like that. I would say get a mosquito net and the rubber boots, because there's going to be a lot of water, and if it's summer, there's going to be lots of mosquitoes. If after a couple of days after some building has burned. All right, school PA systems. That's part of the modern telecommunications, as I say. This is an old Duquesne console, a little bit newer now. Probably you remember from elementary school years and high school years. This is the simple Duquesne one. So this every single button would represent a classroom connection, so you could talk to a specific classroom from the main office. And they could also call you, so the light would light up. So that would be this old simple piece. Some of them are still implemented, still in use. The newer ones, they would have a console like that. So if a classroom is calling, you would get the display you would get this thing displayed on this window right here, and you would use a handset to talk to a classroom. So school PA systems. In fact, that lab after this, like next week, we're going to do the PA system lab. That is going to involve that type of installation of the hallway speakers that would be interfaced with one of these. Church systems. How are we going with time? We're almost done. Church systems, sound systems. Again, separate branch on its own. You can definitely make a career out of this. I just threw on some picture here of church, or quite often in the professional literature, it's called they would be referred to as house of worship, um, because there are different denominations, different everything. So I've done it for a few years. Pretty much visited every kind of church that exists in Ontario here. Good job. Yes, you can support yourself doing that. What do we see on this picture? Actually, that church sound systems also goes together with church organ systems. You can see a couple of technicians working on setting up a organ or servicing the organ. Looks like a new construction here. What do we see here? Over here, we see something that's called the tone chambers, and these are the tone chambers for the church organ. What's a tone chamber? It's a room about this size, one side on the other, and the other side, and in there, well, it's painted black, so you can't see it from inside. And the grill, these are acoustic grills here. So this is a big opening, and this is acoustic grill cloth that lets the sound through. And inside those tone chambers, there are a bunch of loudspeakers or speakers pointed at scattered and pointed at different directions, just chaotically, right? Uh, it is to sort of simulate the way that sound would come out from a pipe organ, because pipe uh, sends the sound in all different directions, and speakers tend to be directional. So, but if you have a bunch of speakers and pointed at all different directions, you get the same or similar effect that it would be coming, it would be getting from a pipe, from a pipe organ. And then with the new technology that exists right now, that when the organs are produced, and the samples, digital samples that are being implemented, um, they have perfected it so well that even to a trained ear, you would have a hard time distinguishing whether this thing you're listening to an electronic organ or is it a true pipe organ. That's how things are, And over here, I just so that's involved church sound systems involves church organs and sound systems. So there are two different. They require two different environments that work opposite to each other, because the church organ needs a live room with lots of echo, reverberation. All that. That's how the church music was written for the organs. And the spoken word needs just the opposite. For the spoken word to be understood properly, you don't need echo. You don't want echo. You don't want reverberation and all that stuff. However, then you have to put that system and this system in the same room, and there's a certain type of art of doing it. And if you do it correctly, you can get yourself known around that you can actually do things like that. And you can find yourself a job working for somebody, or you can work for yourself. Distributed audio, that is what we're going to do next week as far as lab. All those speakers that or the loudspeakers or speaker stations, excuse me, that are hanging on our wall, we're going to disconnect them, and I'll show you a certain way of how to connect those and what to look for, and we're going to listen to some music playing out of that, because what's the point of installing a speaker and not being able to hear something through it? Stage audio, another part of the sound systems installations. You can get yourself hired in theaters, set up things. You can install brand new systems or service existing ones, or it could be a house technician. Lots of fun. It's a very pleasant type of a job, working for a theater, if you can land a job like this. But you have to know what you're doing. Right? That also goes with the hockey arenas and bigger conference rooms, convention centers, and things like that. Access control, that's what it looks like. Swipe the card to get in. Complex system, computer run, interfaced quite often with the security alarm. And so I think it's the last slide. Yes. And the retail POSs. What can we see here? Here's a POS, point of sale. Well, this thing is Home Depot, I guess. I just got that thing from the internet, so I have to put a reference here. So, a lot of infrastructure wiring gets done here. You have POSs, you have intercoms, you have computer networks, jacks, more data, more data, more data. There's always something to do here. The only thing with large department stores like that is that sometimes, look, there's a high ceiling right there. Where do you think the wires run? Right there. That's where the wires run. Very rarely in the floor in stores like this. In order to get there, you have to have something that's called a scissor lift or a boom lift, more likely a scissor lift. And in a lot of those stores, you're not allowed to operate those during the working hours. So a lot of those service calls with stores like that are during the night when the store is closed. Okay. All right. So that's in a nutshell, sort of like a not even a tasting platter, but I just showed you what is, well, not everything, but more or less what's involved in this type of field, in this type of job. And as I keep saying to everyone, job opportunities are there because this whole environment is just like a huge ant house or beehive. Changes are done constantly, constantly. New installations, clients move out, move into another place, another client moves in, service calls, additions, changes. You can, in this kind of business, you can be as busy as you want. It's just how you play your cards as far as, oh, getting the right amount of compensation for the job that you do. And as far as positions, you can have a technician position that you go as a field tech, field techie, doing the installations, a lot of traveling involved, a lot of driving, sometimes flying. They put you on a plane to send you somewhere to do an installation. Or you can do office work. Well, office work is basically doing a lot of quotes for new installations, taking phone calls and arranging service calls. If something goes wrong, one of your clients, maybe the phone stopped working, you have to go and fix it, or maybe the data jack is not working, or whatever. So arranging the phone calls, designing systems, managing people in the office. Of course, field technician versus something that's called a project coordinator or office manager. Then the wages are a little bit different, right? If you're in the office doing that kind of stuff, you'll make a little bit more money. However, you would need some sort of a field experience before you can do the office work because you need to know what to tell people, what to do. If somebody is asking you to install some type of system, you need to know what's involved in the installation or service of that system, which means you need to spend some time in the field working as a field tech in order to get the gist of what's going on. All right, so this is 5 to 11 right now, and this concludes the introductory part of the of this course. And from now on, starting next week, we're going to go somewhat heavily into the bread and butter of things. We'll take things one thing at a time. And I look forward to working with you for the next 14 weeks. Cool. Any questions before we shut down the operation for today? If not, you can still email me if nothing comes to your mind, but maybe something will come up later. You can talk to me. You know how to find me. You know where I work. All right. Okay. Have a great, what day is today? It's almost Friday because every day is almost Friday. Do we have the lab tomorrow? Yes, we are scheduled for the lab tomorrow. However, I might have to see because there's certain things that have come up. I might have to postpone that lab. But today, right now, as of today, treat it as if there's a lab. I'm going to have to. If there's anything changes, I'll email you. Okay. Now, did everybody receive the email notifying that there's a class? Because we have changed the email system. I just want to make sure that you got the email that we have used the new email system. You see, okay, good. So things are working. Great. All right. I'll see you when I see you, and have a wonderful rest of the week. Thank you.